All right, Warriors fans, let's dive right into what's buzzing around Dub Nation right now because this offseason is dragging and the rumors are heating up. We've officially stepped into September. Training camp is inching closer, and Golden State still has some unanswered questions. One of the spiciest rumors floating out there is about Jonathan Kuminga being part of a sign-and trade package that could bring Domantas Sabonis to the Bay. Now, when I first heard this, I had mixed feelings. On paper, it makes sense for the Warriors. Sabonis would instantly fill that void in the middle that's been lingering since the days of Zaza Pachulia. He's big, he's physical, and he's one of the best passing big men in the entire league. For a team like Golden State that thrives on ball movement, Sabonis fits like a glove. The rumored package being tossed around includes Moses Moody, Jonathan Kuminga, an unprotected first-round pick, and a future pick swap. The Kings would be sending out Sabonis, while Buddy Hield and another pick swap reportedly get rerouted to Atlanta to balance the money. When you first look at it from a Warriors perspective, you're thinking, yes, let's get this done. Sabonis immediately solves rebounding issues. He provides another playmaker in the front court, and he gives Golden State that physical presence down low that Kevin Looney, solid as he's been, just doesn't bring. Looney is dependable, he's smart, he's tough, but when the Warriors run into elite centers like Rudy Gobert, Nikola Jokic, or even Anthony Davis, you see the size gap. That Timberwolves series was a perfect example. Looney and Draymond had to work double time just to battle Gobert for rebounds, and even then Minnesota piled up second-chance opportunities. Sabonis would erase a lot of those problems. But here's the catch. Would Sacramento actually pull the trigger? That's where it gets tricky. The Kings are not just going to hand over a two-time all-star big man for potential. Yes, Kuminga has shown flashes of star upside, and Moody is a reliable rotation piece who can keep growing. But is that enough to convince Sacramento to move on from their franchise cornerstone? Probably not without more draft capital. One unprotected pick and one swap just doesn't feel like a haul for Sabonis. To make this work, the Warriors would likely have to sweeten the pot with additional picks. And that's always a gamble when you're already in win-now mode with Steph Curry's window narrowing. From Kuminga's standpoint, though, this type of deal could be a blessing. His value on the market is clear. Reports suggest his next contract would land in the ballpark of 4 years, $121 million. That's over $30 million annually. He'd get his payday, he'd have a bigger role outside of Golden State, and he wouldn't be stuck fighting for touches behind Curry, Clay, and Wiggins. If the Kings decide they want to invest in young athletic wings, Kuminga could be a centerpiece in that vision. But again, it depends on whether Sacramento wants to part ways with Sabonis when they still view themselves as a playoff team in the West. The timing of all this matters too. We've seen these last-minute trades happen right before training camp. Remember Karl-Anthony Towns almost getting moved last year? Nothing is impossible. But when you analyze both sides, Golden State has every reason to chase Sabonis, while Sacramento has every reason to hesitate. They don't really have a backup plan at center if they let him go. Jonas Valanciunas, who could have been a stopgap, got traded to Denver earlier this summer. Without Sabonis, the Kings' front court rotation gets thin, and their entire offensive system, which heavily relies on his passing from the elbow, would collapse. So unless the Warriors back up the Brinks truck with more picks, this deal feels unlikely. Now, while all this trade chatter is swirling, Jonathan Kuminga also has a huge decision looming. Cam Thomas just made headlines by signing his qualifying offer instead of locking into a long-term deal with Brooklyn. That move keeps his bird rights intact and gives him control over trades. For Kuminga, the message should be clear. If Golden State isn't going to extend you right now and no trade materializes, taking the qualifying offer might be the smartest play. It frees him up for unrestricted free agency down the road, where he can cash in without restrictions. The Warriors' front office, led by Mike Dunleavy Jr., needs to get clarity here because heading into training camp with Kuminga's contract situation unresolved is messy. And here's where the mental side comes in. If Kuminga truly wants to establish himself as a star, he has to adopt the mentality of a cleaner. Tim Grover, who trained legends like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, talked about 3 types of players: coolers, closers, and cleaners. Coolers shy away when things get tough. Closers step up when the moment is right. Cleaners don't wait for the moment. They make the moment theirs. For Kuminga, this offseason is a test of whether he's going to shy away, wait around, or take control. Signing that qualifying offer and focusing entirely on proving himself this season would send a strong message. It says he's betting on himself and ready to add value to a team chasing a championship. And then, out of nowhere, we get this bombshell. Ben Simmons might actually be considering retirement at just 29 years old. Let that sink in. It's one of the wildest stories in recent memory, almost on par with when Derrick Rose stepped away from the game because he lost his passion. The difference is that Rose's body had betrayed him, while Simmons' battles are more mental than physical. But if Simmons is serious about rediscovering his love for basketball, Golden State might just be the perfect landing spot. Think about it. Draymond Green taking Simmons under his wing, holding him accountable, pushing him, even getting in his face if necessary. That's the kind of tough love Simmons has never really had. In return, the Warriors would get a defensive powerhouse off the bench, a secondary playmaker who could orchestrate the offense when Curry sits, and someone who can run the floor with shooters all around him. Imagine Simmons bringing the ball up, surrounded by guys like Buddy Hield, Seth Curry, or even Malcolm Brogdon if he signs. That's a nightmare for defenses. Simmons doesn't have to shoot jumpers. Just find open shooters, defend at a high level, and crash the boards. Of course, the elephant in the room is whether Simmons wants it badly enough. His summer workout videos never translate. His excuses pile up. The narrative around him is that he's coasting on natural talent without putting in the grind. But if there's any organization that could change that, it's Golden State. The Warriors are built on accountability, teamwork, and a singular focus on winning championships. That culture might be exactly what Simmons needs to rediscover himself. Yes, he reportedly wants more than the veteran minimum. But honestly, this is where Mike Dunleavy has to work some magic. Sell him on the vision. Tell him, take the minimum, prove yourself, get fixed in this system, and then cash in again. And maybe, just maybe if he thrives, he could even be groomed to take over as the floor general in the post-Curry era. That's a bold pitch, but Golden State has the credibility to pull it off. We've been sitting here since the end of June waiting for a clear decision on Kuminga, and while the market is moving around him, he's stuck in limbo. The front office knows how important this decision is, and fans can sense the frustration building. Every day that passes without clarity only fuels speculation, and that's dangerous when you're heading into a season that could be one of the last real championship pushes of the Curry era. What makes this whole thing complicated is that Golden State isn't just thinking about this year. They're thinking about how to balance the future. If you trade Kuminga, you're giving up a young asset who could very well become an all-star. If you keep him and extend him, you're locking in a big salary number that might limit flexibility down the road. That's why the qualifying offer route is such a fascinating angle. It buys both sides time. It gives the player freedom and leverage, while giving the team another season to evaluate. But the problem is the waiting game. You don't want that hanging over your locker room when the season tips off. You want everyone pulling in the same direction, with no distractions about contracts or roles. And while all of this is swirling, the Ben Simmons story refuses to go away. A 29-year-old former All-Star even thinking about retirement is insane in today's NBA. Players are finding ways to extend their careers well into their mid-30s, some even into their 40s. The idea that Simmons could walk away now speaks volumes about the battles he's fighting internally. And that's where Golden State comes in as maybe the one environment that could save him. Simmons doesn't need to carry a team here. He doesn't need to be the number one option. He doesn't even need to shoot. All he needs to do is defend like his life depends on it, push the pace, and trust the shooters around him. The Warriors have built their dynasty on role players understanding their job. Simmons has the talent to be more than just a role player, but even if he embraced that niche, he'd still add enormous value. Picture this. Curry takes a breather in the second quarter. The offense doesn't stall because Simmons is pushing the ball. Clay is spotting up. Wiggins is slashing. Maybe someone like Seth Curry or Buddy Hield is camping in the corner. Simmons doesn't need to think, just make the read and deliver the pass. On the defensive end, He's switching across 3 or 4 positions, harassing guards, and protecting the paint when needed. That kind of versatility is exactly what Golden State has always craved. And the thought of pairing him with Draymond is both terrifying and exciting. Sure, there might be fireworks. Both are fiery, both are emotional, and yes, fists might fly at some point. But you know what? That's sometimes what brings out the best in competitors. Draymond thrives on accountability, and Simmons needs that more than anything. Now, back to Kuminga, because this saga is really the thread that ties the Warriors' entire offseason together. The comparison to Cam Thomas is perfect because it shows how players in this restricted free agency market are starting to take control of their careers. The message is simple. If you don't like the deal, bet on yourself. And if Kuminga truly believes he's destined to be a star, then he shouldn't hesitate. Take that one-year deal, show out this season, and then watch the offers pour in when you hit the open market. The risk, of course, is injury or inconsistency. But that's the gamble of believing in yourself. Golden State's front office, though, has to be careful. They can't drag this out forever. This team is built on chemistry and continuity. Every time the Warriors have made deep runs, it's been because their group trusted each other completely. That's why moves like adding Kevin Durant or reshaping the bench around role players like Sean Livingston and Andre Iguodala work so seamlessly. Everyone knew their role, and there were no lingering contract disputes casting shadows over the locker room. The current roster needs that same clarity, especially with so many new pieces potentially coming in. And speaking of new pieces, the Warriors have to be aggressive. The West is a gauntlet. Denver isn't going anywhere with Jokic leading the way. Minnesota is only getting better. The Lakers, no matter how flawed, still have LeBron and Anthony Davis. The Clippers, if healthy, can still be dangerous. And don't forget about teams like Oklahoma City, who are younger, faster, and hungry to prove themselves. Golden State can't afford to stand pat. Whether it's chasing Sabonis, taking a flyer on Simmons, or finding another impact player to bargain, they need to round out this roster with the kind of depth that can withstand an 82-game grind. One thing that's certain is that Curry, Draymond, and Clay are not slowing down in their preparation. Reports all summer long have been about how hard these guys are working to stay sharp. That core understands how small the window is, and they're not taking it for granted, which is why the pressure is really on the front office to match that urgency. Players can only control so much. It's on management to provide the right supporting cast, to resolve these contract situations, and to make the bold moves when opportunities arise. And let's not overlook the ripple effect of all this around the league. If Kuminga takes the qualifying offer, other young players might follow. If Simmons finds redemption in Golden State, it could completely reshape how players with baggage are viewed. Suddenly, Golden State becomes the place where careers get revived, where stars can reset themselves in a winning culture. That reputation already exists to some extent, but bringing Simmons back to form would cement it. And in a league where player movement is constant, having that reputation can be a massive advantage. So here we are in September, waiting, watching, and wondering. Will the Warriors push their chips in for a star like Sabonis? Will they take the chance on Simmons and hope their culture can save him? Will Kuminga bet on himself with a qualifying offer? Or will the front office finally make a definitive call on his future? These are the questions hanging over this team, and they need answers soon. Training camp is coming. The season is around the corner, and this roster needs to be locked in mentally and physically if they want to raise another banner. Before we continue, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Dubs updates. Let's keep going. Whispers are spreading through the basketball world, and fans can barely contain their excitement. The golden era of the Warriors might just be getting a turbocharged reboot. Imagine this. LeBron James, Stephen Curry, and Ben Simmons all donning the iconic blue and gold. Yes, you read that right. The rumor mill has been buzzing nonstop, and while nothing is official, insiders hint that the Warriors' front office has been exploring moves that could shock the entire league. Sources close to the organization suggest that the team sees a once-in-a-generation opportunity to create a supercharged Big Three, blending Curry's unparalleled shooting LeBron's veteran leadership and versatility, and Simmons' defensive prowess and playmaking. The chemistry is already a topic of endless debate on social media. Could this trio actually work? Fans are drawing comparisons to the dynasty years, imagining a team that could dominate both ends of the floor like no one else. The intrigue is in the timing. With LeBron's contract situation and Simmons' desire for a new challenge, the alignment of stars feels almost cinematic. Warriors insiders reportedly see Curry as the irreplaceable nucleus, with the idea that adding two generational talents could vault Golden State into untouchable territory. Analysts are already speculating on lineups, rotations, and how opposing defenses might crumble under the combined might of three players capable of scoring, defending, and orchestrating at elite levels. Naturally, skeptics are raising eyebrows. Can Simmons adapt to the Warriors' perimeter-heavy offense? Will LeBron, in the later stages of his career, find the stamina to thrive alongside Curry's high-octane pace? And what about contracts, trade logistics, and luxury tax implications? Every answer remains a mystery, fueling endless chatter across sports media and fan forums alike. If it happens, it could redefine the NBA landscape, rewriting the playbook for building a modern superteam. The Warriors, once again, could become the epicenter of basketball obsession, commanding headlines, generating memes, and sparking debates that last well into the postseason. For now, though, it's a tantalizing rumor, a dream scenario whispered in locker rooms, podcasts, and coffee shops. A big three unlike any other, waiting for the league to catch up. Could the Golden State Warriors be on the verge of their most electrifying chapter yet? Only time will tell, but the excitement is already impossible to contain. Stay updated exclusively with the latest Dub Nation news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep getting daily updates on the Warriors. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Your input is essential for the Dubs community. Stay tuned for the next video.